for Campus Craziness. Man, there's a lot to choose from, of course. Canadian professor Jordan Peterson shot to fame when he opposed a transgender law that infringed badly on the free speech rights of Canadians. Now, his speech is being suppressed in a different way. Google blocked him from his YouTube account. We don't actually know why, because Google refused to specify the thought crime that warranted this censorship. He joins us now. Perhaps he knows. Professor, thanks a lot for coming on.
Hey. Good to meet you. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. We're honored to have you. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are familiar with you from YouTube, so it's a big deal. You're popular there. That your account was suspended. Do you have any idea why?
No, I've heard conflicting reports from people who've emailed me within Google, ranging from thoughts that it had something to do with the political content to an administrative error. It's not clear at all why it occurred or why I was turned back on, although it did happen after I released a number of tweets documenting what had happened. So I don't think that was just fluke. But I have no idea. That's actually part of the frightening part, is that
yes,
I could be shut off. I have no idea why. They turned me back on. I have no idea why. It's not a trivial matter when those sorts of things happen.
Because there aren't options. I mean, Google is, in effect, a monopoly, both in search and really in its ownership of YouTube. I mean, if you were cut off, what would that mean? You'd not be able to disseminate your views.
It meant a lot of things. It meant that my calendar was gone, so I had no idea what I was doing for the next 2 months. I had all my email for the last 10 years was on that account, and all the emails I haven't answered. I couldn't get access to my YouTube videos. Like, it was a big deal. It was very stressful, and the arbitrariness of it is quite frightening in my estimation, and so it's something for everyone to be aware of. And I mean, partly it's a consequence of this rapid technological revolution. We've turned our communication over to huge corporations, and they're going to make mistakes, and if it was a mistake, well, that's actually fine with me, but it wasn't handled well because I was never informed about what happened or why it was rectified. And so it also raises suspicions, right? I mean, maybe it was just an error, but the fact that things have been happening in such a strange way politically brings up the specter of censorship. And so,
well, we know that Google engages in censorship. I mean, Google, by its own admission, and it's obvious if you test it, censors its search results. And so certain ideas are just eliminated by Google, and you wouldn't know the difference. What are the implications of having a company like Google that's in effect more powerful than most governments? In fact, more powerful than the U.S. government was 2 generations ago.
Well, I don't think we know what the implications are, but the thing that frightens me is that whatever political ideology Google is pushing forward is likely to be written into their code and then will serve to automatically filter our communications. And that's undoubtedly happening. And so I'm very worried that we're building an unconscious mind into the internet that will censor things before they even happen, so to speak, and that's a very bad thing, and it's not something that anybody really foresaw coming, I don't think. So,
but it's not sustainable. I mean, the basic the basic agreement in any society is you can't be more powerful than the government, right? They're more powerful than the government in certain ways. Why would our government stand for that?
Well, I'm not sure that the government knows what to do. Part of the problem is that the technologies are advancing so quickly that something as ponderous as the government can hardly keep up. I mean, the tech companies themselves can't keep up. And even once you formulate policies, one of the problems is that the technology immediately leaps out of that policy bucket and wanders off somewhere new almost instantaneously.
That's right.
And so it's very, very difficult for regulators to keep up with this sort of thing.
And it's ominous. So I hope you will come. I'm glad that you're back on. I hope you will come back. It is an honor to meet you, and I hope we'll see you again.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Professor. Philanthropist Foster Friess has a plan to bring Americans together. He'll pay for free coffee for anyone who takes the time to meet up with someone they disagree with. He spoke to us about his plan last night. Watch. So you're not just suggesting that people have coffee with someone they kind of disagree with, but you're saying that people should find someone they disagree with completely and sit down with that person.
Well, guess what? Rick Santorum invited Van Jones, and Laura Ingraham invited Rachel Maddow. So how do you like those? I hope they accept, and we're going to have a lot of fun stories to come out of this where people realize when you get to know someone on a personal basis, it's very hard to be angry and mean, and we have to be more careful about throwing this word hate around.
We hope you'll take him up on his offer. Nothing improves relationships like personal contact. Robert Lee is an Asian-American sportscaster. Robert E. Lee commanded the Confederate forces a century and a half ago, rather. Reuters thinks they're, quote, doppelgangers. Joe Concha standing by to talk about the state of American journalism. Boy, there's a conversation. Stay tuned. We're only 2 weeks in the NFL preseason. Already many of the league's richest players have gone out of their way to let you know how much they hate your country. On Monday, a dozen members of the Cleveland Browns refused to stand for the national anthem because racism or something. Well, in doing so, they lost a fairly prominent fan, Ohio Supreme Court Justice Bill O'Neill. He's a Democrat, by the way, and a Vietnam veteran. He took to Facebook to say this, quote, "Congratulations, Cleveland Browns, on your win. Unfortunately, my season ended last night. I will never attend a sporting event where the draft-dodging millionaire athletes disrespect the veterans who earned the right to be on that field. Shame on you all." Does Justice O'Neill speak for all American football fans? I don't know. Probably many more than Colin Kaepernick does, though. Well, ESPN punished an Asian American announcer named Robert Lee for his name. Reuters referred to left-wing rioters as, quote, peace activists. The New York Times is furious that the Wall Street Journal's editors are demanding fair reporting, and that's just this week in America's press corps. Wow. Too much for a single television segment. We could devote a whole network to that, but The Hill's Joe Concha will always try. He covers this stuff for a living, and he joins us now. Joe, there is a lot going on. Let's start with the peace activists. I mean, that's just propaganda. That's not even news reporting, is it?
Yeah, peace activists usually don't throw urine bottles at police or rocks or get arrested. And I think once you start causing violence and damage, Tucker, you're no longer a peace activist. You're no longer even a protester. You've become a rioter. So we have to start categorizing these things correctly. But give Reuters credit here. You know, we criticize, but we condemn. An hour after my story went up on the Hill about this, they did send a correction directly to me and also to put it out on Twitter with caps, by the way. We have changed the caption of this photo, which inaccurately characterized the anti-Trump protesters as peace activists. So good job, Reuters, for owning up to it.
Well, good for them. So the Robert Lee story, I thought, was one of the great stories ever because, of course, it confirmed exactly what you long suspected, which is a lot of these people are totally insane and irrational. But the coverage of it seemed to kind of downplay it, I thought, the craziness.
Well, journalists aren't doing their homework here, Tucker. I did, and I think I could kind of sort of break something on here tonight because it kind of hit me on the way in when I read John Skipper's statement. John Skipper is the president of ESPN. Yeah. And he said part of Lee's decision to agree to be pulled off the game was because he lives in Albany and he'd be able to get home to his family on Saturday evening if he does the game at the University of Pittsburgh. So then I went on this wonderful thing called Google Maps, and I looked at the distance between Pittsburgh and Albany, and that is 480 miles. And then or 460, excuse me. From Charlottesville in Virginia, if he did the game there to get to Albany, it's 480 miles. So you say, well, maybe he could fly. So I called the airport, and they said, well, there are no nonstop flights from Pittsburgh to Albany, nor are there from Charlottesville. So he ain't getting home any faster, whether he does the game in Virginia or Pittsburgh. ESPN's got some explaining to do on that front.
They're punishing the guy because his name they think is embarrassing. Like, that's exactly how you shouldn't behave ever with your employees. So what do you make of this story about the New York Times ran a piece about Jerry Baker, who's the editor of the Wall Street Journal, scolding his reporters for not covering the Trump rally straight. He seemed to be scolded by the left for demanding straight news coverage.
Yeah, he was saying in straight news reporting that there was too much editorializing going on. There was too much criticism, and the New York Times obtains these emails from Wall Street Journal reporters as if it's some big bombshell that an editor looked at a reporter who's supposed to be objective and said, look, you got to take this out. This is too much on the editorial side. Let's play it straight here, guys. Wow. The fact that that's being is somehow the exception rather than the rule is just remarkable to me, Tucker.
Well, it is remarkable, and what's extra remarkable is you don't see it happening in other papers. I don't think you're seeing any other, and I don't know Gerald Baker, by the way, I've never even met him, so I'm not carrying water for the guy, but I haven't seen any other editors say to their reporters, look, just tell the story, just say what happened, keep your editorializing out. I think that's an unusual thing now.
The line between straight news reporting and opinion has been obliterated. You see now anchors, people are supposed to play it straight, now giving their feelings on a particular topic because they think it's good for the country in their mind. And no one wants to know their opinion. They just want the facts. And the fact that Gerard Baker is being criticized for this is, for lack of a better word, deplorable.
Really quick, just in 20 seconds, since you're watching TV all day long and reading everything.
Well,
did the Russia story disappear, or is that my imagination?
Yeah, boy, before I went on vacation, it was the biggest story of our lifetime, and we were entering a constitutional crisis. Now, I can't seem to find any coverage on it. It really is quite remarkable, Tucker.
It's weird. What a fickle group they are, those journalists. Joe, thanks a lot for joining us tonight.
Good
as
to see
always.
you.
Good to see you.